Hello Virgo, welcome to March 2018. This March reading for you was kind of a big one. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the stars for just a moment because we have so much attention on Pisces. We've got the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Neptune, and Chiron. The moon just exited and just went into Aries at the time of this recording. So much going on in your house of relationships, okay? And I put in my notes here, did the universe give you something or someone just to test you? I think that there's this test going on, this universal test. Like, did Virgo learn the lesson the first time around? And does Virgo make the connection that this is exactly the same as that from last year or from years ago, right? And we have Jupiter going retrograde this month too in Scorpio, which is aspecting Neptune in your house of relationships. It's also aspecting Pluto, which is your house of dating. And I'm calling this retrograde a detoxification or a reformation retrograde. And it's so needed, right? You guys need it so much. And being a Virgo myself, I'm like, yeah, I could really use a blank slate, you know? We have to mention too that later on in the month, I'll talk more about it with the readings next month, but we have Mercury, your ruling planet, going retrograde as well in Aries, which is your house, your 8th house, okay? And that has to do with transformation and, letting things go, and there could be some miscommunications as well. So just, be on point with that, I guess. We have this King of Cups that came out in your reading. And in the comprehensive reading, I go much deeper into where is this person? Where is their mind at? What are they thinking? What do they want? And you're going to need to know that because this person is not on the same wavelength as you. And I think it will help make it easier, the decision to either move on or to change the way you're doing something or whatever it is that you need to do personally to not be affected by this person. Because the King of Cups in reversal kind of goes well with the Jupiter in Scorpio reversal, right? It kind of makes things, it kind of throws a wrench in your progress, but you don't really need that, so to speak. You don't have to allow that to come in and to affect you the way that I think it might. So I'm going to leave you with that. You guys really don't need to do this all over again, I'm going to leave you with that. And if you guys want to check out the comprehensive reading, it's one of those, I'm saying this in all the videos, if you don't want to spend like $100 on a private reading, I'm charging $5.99, and it gives you so much more detail. It's kind of like a whole second reading that just continues on from this general that I'm doing here on YouTube. So feel free to check that out. And with that, I wish you nothing but the best. All right? Thanks, Virgo. Bye. Hello, Virgo. Let's go ahead and get started. We had the first card come out while I was shuffling, and it was the Four of Cups. And I sat for a moment after this card came out, and I was like, I feel that there's a little bit of a different interpretation for this card than normal that was coming to my mind. Normally, it's like a card of emotional maturity and not getting not getting attached, not getting connected to anyone or anything, or getting married to any outcome, right? But with this card, there was this sense of like Virgo has to do something that they don't want to do. I don't know why that is. You have to talk to someone, you have to say the way you feel, you have to be honest, and you don't want to do it. And I feel like there's almost kind of an avoidance going on there. Because having to do that thing means having to be emotionally vulnerable, which is likely something that you're just not really wanting to do right now. It's not to say that Virgo is not capable of surrendering on an emotional level. I would, very much disagree with that. I might say that about a few other signs, but Virgo, I wouldn't say that. And the fact that you are needing to feel, composed and needing to feel in control right now, it is preventing you from doing something that I think is inevitable. There's an inevitability looming. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. There's almost like a pouting factor, like, oh, I don't want to, kind of like a whining vibe that I'm kind of getting. Okay, well, we got a whole bunch. Normally I only like to pull out one at a time, so I'll pull all the 3 that came out, but I'll just lay out one at a time. So we have the Ace of Cups coming out, an Ace of Cups and Ace of Cups. Why is it that you're having a hard time? Like, they're even both coming from a cloud, right? They're even both coming from the universe, as if out of nowhere. Like, there's something about your options right now that you're just not having, you're just not dealing with. Now, Ace of Cups can represent romance coming in. It can represent creative opportunities or creative projects. It can represent a deep connection with what I call the flow, right? Which is kind of like when you sit down to do something that you love to do, and all of a sudden 5 hours goes by, and it's like, holy cow, where did that time go by? Where did that time go? And it's kind of that opportunity to connect with that flow. And yet still, Virgo, a resistance. Maybe you're not perceiving it as a resistance, but rather maybe you're putting other things as a priority, right? You're prioritizing things a little bit differently than you might otherwise do. Okay, the next one that comes out is the Chariot Reverse. So much control here, but yet feeling out of control here. And maybe that's why this very closed off nature, right? Definitely something has deeply affected you. Maybe something has even taken control of you, on a romantic level. Maybe you have a new love interest that is getting a little bit, you are getting a little bit too connected too quickly, and you're realizing that maybe that's not a good thing, and so therefore you pull back. And I don't know, but maybe there's because I often see the black and white, the masculine and feminine, but it's also a clash between love and power. And I think right now you're not really wanting to give up your power. You're not really wanting to give up control. You're wanting to remain steady. You're not really wanting to have turbulence in your life right now. Like, sometimes we can handle turbulence, sometimes we can deal with it okay. The solar eclipse in your sign, your 12th house, the sign right before yours, does lend itself to, oh no, it's in Aquarius, I'm sorry. The lunar eclipse was in Leo. Well, Aquarius is in the 6th house, which is your ruling house, so it will still affect you. I feel like there is something in the realm of asserting oneself and really figuring out your place in the greater whole. And there's a difficulty kind of aligning yourself with that a little bit. What is it all for? What's this going? Okay, now the next card, I'll just pull the last 2 that came out. The 6 of Swords in the reversal and the World. Having a difficult time transitioning, whatever it is you're transitioning from. Why so stuck right now, Virgo? Definitely feeling stuck. You have to do something. You don't want to do it. You know you need to move on. You know you need to evolve. In fact, I think you already have evolved past it, and yet you're still not accepting that you've already evolved past it. You're giving this Ace of Cups a little bit too much power. This is a blessing for sure, absolutely. Maybe it is a new romantic interest, right? Maybe it is, like I said, I went down the list of all the things it could be, but just because it's there doesn't mean it needs to completely put all your spiritual progress on halt. And doesn't mean that you can't say no. Now, not all of you are going to say no to this. Some of you will say yes, and some of you, those that do say no, don't worry. You can always get another one. The universe is never short of opportunities. It's not like it runs out. It's an unlimited supply, right? So you can let this one pass by if you need to. You can reject this one if you need to, in order for you to get to point B, because right now you're still kind of lingering around in point A. And I know that you need to be at point B, because where you are at point A is not serving you, because you're not happy there, right? And yet you're still kind of lingering and hovering around there just because it's uncomfortable. The world does require us, and I don't know why I'm getting this, like, this is a very odd reading for me, and I'm not quite sure why, but I feel like you are being tested, because the world is an earned card. We must earn it. We must go through the lessons, right? It's a card associated with Saturn. And while there are great blessings here, it is also a card of indifference. And it doesn't care if you're ready. It doesn't care if you haven't learned the lessons. That's fine. We can go back to the beginning and start fresh, and you can go through it all over again. Or you can just push and get to the end and get through it and start a whole new cycle with something like a new challenge and a new lesson that you need to learn. Otherwise, you're just going to be, it's almost like a curse. You're going to be cursed, right? And I don't want to use that word in kind of like it might just be kind of how it feels, but it's like one of those situations where you say, why does this always happen to me? Why do I always find myself here? If you don't walk through, if you don't do the thing you need to do, you're going to be saying that to yourself. And you're going to be like, oh, why does this always happen to me? But you know what you need to do. And if you do it, you'll earn the rite of passage and you'll be able to cross the bridge. If you don't, that's fine. You can just stay where you are and just redo it. The universe is indifferent. It doesn't care what you choose. You can choose whatever you want. But it's giving you like a silver key, right? Or a golden key. It's giving you a key to access. And there's blessings on the other side of that for you too. It's not like you lose out on something that you're kind of afraid to lose out on and you get nothing to kind of replace that or to fill in that gap. It's there for you. Okay? So there's no need to be so resistant. There's no need to reduce your standards and put up with something that you just don't feel happy about. There's no need to live it again and again. Okay, let's see what else comes out. I'm going to be clarifying this, and this. Actually, probably that too, in the comprehensive reading too, to get more information, especially that Ace of Cups. What is that? Who is that? What can you look forward to there? King of Cups. Some of you may be dealing with Scorpio. Definitely a lot of water. We've got water here, water here, water here. I don't think that person that you're dealing with is really giving you what you need. And maybe that's the struggle, right? Like maybe you find yourself, in Queen of Cups reversed. So whether it's you, it's a card of Cancer, right? So maybe you're dealing with a water sign or someone of that quality. So whether you're the king, whether you're the queen, it almost kind of doesn't matter. I initially saw this as someone else though, but you know, I think you two, it's weird, like you have the good stuff, and maybe that's what you're really hanging on to. You have the good stuff. You have the compatibility. You have the friendship even, right? Let's talk about it in a romantic capacity, because I think that's how it's going to speak to most of you. But it could be a boss, it could be a friend, whatever, right? So just kind of go there. But I'm going to talk about it in romantic capacity, okay? You have the intimate connection, you have the good sexual chemistry as well, but yet somehow you both are very, very closed off. You both are very resistant to that vulnerability. And I think, Virgo, in many ways, the other person is not able or willing to provide the emotional security that you need, because they are still broken from something else. You are living in the symptoms of their past, and vice versa. This connection is a symptom where, unfortunately, if you had met under different circumstances, maybe it would have like really clicked and really worked. But I think you're dealing with someone who's very unattainable, and in so facto you are very unattainable. You cannot have two people that are unattainable create a relationship and have it work, okay? Especially in a romantic capacity. You're both too guarded. You both kind of, I think, are wanting control, and at the same time wanting the other person to initiate. There seems to be complications with the energy flow between the two of you. It's not even a push-pull, it's mostly just pushing. Like there's a draw in, but yet it's just like it's working more tension outwards than it's working tension together. And I think the thing that you need to do, that you don't want to do, is to get rid of this. Because what you want and what you really, I think, deserve is a love that is more open and more flowing. If this person wants to love you in that manner, they're going to have to open up. And maybe the thing you don't want to do is actually kind of weirdly making you feel more weak, but it is through your weakness that you find your power, through that vulnerability, right? Where you say, hey, King of Cups, or hey, Queen of Cups, I'm just really not vibing with this. We're not on the same page. We're not on the same wavelengths, in spite of the fact that we seem to have all this compatibility. When we're together, it's easy. We can talk, we can laugh, we can have a good time. But yet somehow there's just this huge disconnect. And I'm really ready for something much more meaningful. And I'm ready for something that is more fulfilling than this. And I think what's happening is you're very afraid of giving up the hope that this is going to be everything that you want it to be. But you need to understand that in order to have the type of love you ultimately want and you ultimately desire, that you must get rid of this. And I know it doesn't almost make sense, but maybe that's the test, right? Because is this person not reminiscent of someone you've already dated? Is this situation not reminiscent of a situation you've already gone through and you've already dealt with? I think it is. So if you want to go through this all over again, you can bang your head against the wall trying to get this King of Cups who is totally not available. Again, Queen of Cups, King of Cups, same thing, doesn't matter. You're both kind of doing it, and it's just like you're affecting each other in negative ways, and that's not what we like to see, especially in a romantic situation, right? And let's see what else comes out, I guess. You might even be quite frustrated, right? And you might even be like, well, I'm not going to do anything quite yet because I want to see where it goes. Because it's like, why would the universe give me this if it wasn't going to be exactly what it should be, right? Because I already went through this, right? And it's almost as though it's that last solidification, right? Maybe it started at the end of last year, right? When Saturn kind of made that transit into Capricorn. It was like Saturn just trying to get one more thing in before it transfers into Capricorn, one more test, one more thing. And maybe there's just like some remnants of that going on. One more little lesson, it's just got a jab in there for you. Communication seems to be tough. You seem to be like, this is how I'm envisioning it in my mind. It's like a conversation you have on the phone, and what you want more than anything is for that person to come over to your house, or you want the freedom and the emotional safety to go over to their house, but you don't do it because you know that that safety is not there. And because you know that safety is not there, you don't do it, and neither do they. And there's just like this, like how it's almost very disappointing, right? Because why would you have this if it wasn't meant to be what it was supposed to be? Remember, the universe, there's a flow. You must be comfortable releasing in order to receive. Okay? And I think this is something that you need to release in order to receive. Now, I'm not going to project anything to say, but a scenario that came to my mind was like, it's almost as though when you become vulnerable and when you feel comfortable and safe to truly lose this, and don't do this because I said this and because you think that, but no, you have to really, really be okay with completely losing that and it never coming back. But it's almost as though once you're okay with losing it and you set it free is when it comes back to you. And when it kind of recycles and comes again and it transforms in some kind of way. See, there's always the cycle, right? There's always the cycle. And when this person gives to them, this person receives from the universe, right? And because this person receives, they are then able to give to other people, right? So there's always this fluidity with the giving and the receiving. And so, and releasing is kind of essentially like a giving, I guess, giving it back maybe. So when you get to the point of being really, really, truly able to let this go, or this, let it go, that is when you make room for the good things to come. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull a couple more cards. See, I feel like you might be kind of stuck in like some kind of a superficial situation, or like something hasn't been defined or figured out. The terms of the agreement or the commitment haven't been like really agreed upon yet. And so you're in just kind of like this weird limbo. But the Three of Cups in the reversal tells me that the serious tone, making things serious, and I don't know why that's serious. Normally I'm like, it's probably not the best relationship advice, but you know, at the end of the day, you got to speak your truth. And if that person's not into your truth and not going to deal with it or put up with it, then they're probably not the best person for you anyway. And I feel like it is through your truth and through your quote-unquote failure and your acceptance of that failure that you receive everything you want. I don't even know what that means. I'm going to clarify all of this. in the comprehensives, okay? So if you want to continue the reading, I'll put the link down below. It's really great. I had the most amazing feedback from people. Like I said, I'll probably talk about this in the intro too, but like I had such amazing feedback. People were like, thank you so much. It really just gave me so much more clarity into my situation and gave me so much more insight into what the other person was really thinking. And, you know, instead of spending 70 or 100 or 150 bucks on a private reading, you can get a lot more detail, hopefully, into your situation for like $6, right? So it's kind of good, and it helps me out to kind of help keep my channel going, and you can think of it like a donation or something like that. But it does help me to create better content, which was kind of the goal of this anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and cut you guys off there. Thank you guys so much, and hopefully I'll see you on the site. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.